Then Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes of the people of Israel. He said, "Here is what Adonai has ordered. When a man makes a vow to Adonai formally obligates himself by swearing an oath, he is not to break his word, but is to do everything he has said he would do. When a woman makes a vow to Adonai, formally obligating herself while she is a minor living in her father's house, then if her father has heard what she vowed or obligated to herself to do and holds his peace, then all her vows remain binding. Every obligation she has bound herself to will stand. But if on the day her father hears it, he expresses his disapproval, then none of her vows or obligations she has bound herself to will stand, and Adonai will forgive her because her father expressed his disapproval. If, having made vows or rashly committed herself to an obligation, she gets married, and her husband hears but holds his peace with her on the day he learns of it, then her vows and obligations she has bound herself to will stand. But if her husband expresses his disapproval on the day he hears it, he will void the vow which is on her and the obligation to which she has bound herself, and Adonai will forgive her. The vow of a widow, however, or a divorcee, including everything to which she has obligated herself, will stand against her. If a woman vowed in her husband's house or obligated herself with an oath, and her husband heard it but held his peace with her and does not express disapproval, then all her vows and obligations will stand. But if her husband makes them null and void on the day he hears them, then whatever she said, vows or binding obligation, will not stand. Her husband has voided them, and Adonai will forgive her. Her husband may let every vow and every binding obligation stand, or he may void it. But if her husband entirely holds his peace with her day after day, then he confirms all her vows and obligations. He must let them stand, because he held his peace with her on the day he heard them. If he makes them null and void after he has heard them, then he will bear the consequent guilt. These are the laws which Adonai ordered Moshe between a man and his wife, between a father and his daughter, and if she is a minor living in her father's house. If she is a minor living. Adonai said to Moshe, on behalf of the people of Israel, take vengeance on the Midyanim. After that you will be gathered to your people. Moshe said to the people, equip men from among yourself for war. They are to go and fight Midian, in order to carry out Adonai's vengeance on Midian. You are to send to the war 1,000 men from every one of Israel's tribes. So out of the thousands of people in Israel, 1,000 armed men from each tribe, 12,000 altogether, were mustered for war. Moshe sent them 1,000 from each tribe to the war. He sent them and Pinchas, the son of Eleazar the Cohen, to the war with the holy utensils and the trumpet for sounding the alarm in his care. They fought against Midian as Adonai had ordered Moshe, and killed every male. They killed the kings of Midian along with the others who were slain: Avi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reva, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with the sword. The people of Israel took captive the women of Midian and their little ones. They took as booty as all their cattle, their flocks, all their goods. They set fire to all their cities and the areas where they lived and all their camps. They took out all the booty of all the people and the animals they had captured, and brought the captives' booty and spoil to Moshe, Eleazar the Cohen, and the community of Israel in the camp on the plains of Moab, by the Yarden across from Jericho. Moshe, Eleazar, and Cohen, and all the community leaders went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was angry with the army officers, the commanders of thousands, and the commander of hundreds, coming in from the battlefield. Moshe asked them, "You let the women live? Why? These are the ones who, because of Balaam's advice, caused the people of Israel to rebel, breaking faith with Adonai in the Peor incident, so that the plague broke out among Adonai's community. Now kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has ever slept with a man. But the young girls who have never slept with a man, keep alive for yourselves. Pitch your tents outside the camp for 7 days. Whoever has killed a person or touched the corpse of someone slain, purify yourselves. On the 3rd and 7th days, you and your captives. Also purify every garment, whether of skin or goat's hair, and everything made of wood. Eleazar the Cohen said to the soldiers who had gone to the front, "This is the regulation from the Torah which Adonai has ordered Moshe. Even though gold, silver, brass, iron, tin, and lead can all withstand fire, so that you are indeed to purify everything made of these materials, by giving them pass-through with fire. Nevertheless, they must also be purified with the water for purification. Everything that can't withstand fire, you are to have to go through the water. On the 7th day, you are to wash your clothes, and you will be clean. After that, you may enter the camp." Adonai said to Moshe, "Take all the booty, both people and animals, you, Eleazar, and the Cohen, and the leaders of clans in the community, and divide the booty into 2 parts, half for the experienced soldiers who went out to battle, and half for the rest of the community. For the portion of the soldiers who went out to battle, levy a tax for Adonai consisting of 1/500th of the person's cattle, donkeys, and sheep. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the Cohen as a portion set apart for Adonai. From the half that goes to the people of Israel, you are to take 1/50th of the persons and of the cattle, donkeys, and sheep, that is, of all the livestock, and give them to the Leviim, taking care of the tabernacle of Adonai. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen did as Adonai had ordered Moshe. The booty over and above the portion which the soldiers took came to 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 persons in all, consisting of the women who had never slept with a man. The half which was the portion of the soldiers who went out to fight numbered 337,500 sheep, of which Adonai's tribute was 675. 36,000 cattle, of which Adonai's tribute was 72. 30,500 donkeys, of which Adonai's tribute was 61. And 16,000 persons, of whom Adonai's tribute was 32 persons. Moshe gave the tribute set apart for Adonai to Eleazar the Cohen, as Adonai had ordered Moshe, from the half that went to the people of Israel, which Moshe separated from that of the men who had gone to fight. Now the community's half consisted of 337,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 persons. From the people of Israel's half, Moshe took 1/50th of the persons and the animals and gave them to the Leviim, taking care of the tabernacle of Adonai, as Adonai had ordered Moshe. The officers in charge of the thousands who fought, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, approached Moshe and said to him, "Your servants have counted all the soldiers under our command, and not one of us is missing. We have brought an offering for Adonai, what every man has obtained in the way of gold jewelry, armlets, bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and belts, to make atonement for ourselves before Adonai." Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen accepted their gold, all the jewelry, all the gold, and this gift, which the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds set apart for Adonai, weighing 420 pounds. For the soldiers had taken booty, every man for himself. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen took the gold from the commanders of thousands of hundreds and brought it into the tent of meeting as a reminder for the people of Israel before Adonai. The descendants of Reuben and the descendants of Gad had vast quantities of livestock. When they saw that the land of Yazer and the land of Gilead were good for livestock, the descendants of Gad and Reuben came and spoke to Moshe, Eleazar the Cohen, and the community leaders. They said, Atatarot, Divan, Yazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elela, Sivam, Nevo, and beyond. The country that Adonai conquered before the community of Israel is livestock country, and your servants have livestock. If you regard us as favorably, they went on, let this land be given to your servants as their possession, and don't have us cross the Jordan. Moshe answered the descendants of Gad and of Reuben, are your brothers to go to war while you stay here? Besides, why are you trying to discourage the people of Israel from crossing into the land of Adonai gave them? This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the Eshcol Valley and saw the land, they disheartened the people of Israel, and so that they wouldn't enter the land Adonai had given them. Adonai's anger blazed up on that day, and he swore, none of the people aged 20 or more who came out of Egypt will see the land I swore to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, because they followed me. They haven't followed me unreservedly, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Kenizi, and Yehoshua, the son of Nun, because they have followed Adonai unreservedly. Thus Adonai's anger blazed against Israel, so that he made them wander here and there in the desert for 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of Adonai had died out. Now you, another brood of sinners, have arisen in your father's place to increase still more the fierce anger of Adonai toward Israel. For if you turn away from him, he will leave them in the desert again, and thus you will cause the destruction of all these people. But you came to him and said, here we will build enclosures for our livestock and cities for our little ones. But you yourselves will be armed and ready for action to march at the head of the people of Israel, until we have brought them to their place. Our little ones who will stay in the fortified cities here because of the people now living in the land. However, we will not return to our own homes until every man in Israel has taken possession of his land for inheritance. We will not have an inheritance for them. On the other hand, on the other side of the Jordan westward, because of our inheritance has fallen to us on this side of the Jordan eastward. Moshe said to them, if you will do this, if you will arm yourselves to go before Adonai to the war, and if every one of your soldiers will cross the Jordan before Adonai, until he has driven out his enemies ahead of him, and if the land has been conquered before Adonai, and only after that do you return, then you will be clear before Adonai and before Israel, and this land here will be yours to possess before Adonai. But if you will not do this, then you have sinned against Adonai, and you must understand your sin will find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep. Then do what you said you would do. The descendants of Gad and descendants of Reuben said to Moshe, your servants will do as my Lord orders. Our little ones, wives, flocks, and all the livestock will be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will cross over, every man armed for war, before Adonai to do battle, as my Lord says. So Moshe gave orders concerning them to Eleazar the Cohen, Yehoshua the son of Nun, and the clan leaders of the tribes of the people of Israel. Moshe said to them, if the descendants of Gad and Reuben cross over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle before Adonai, and if the land is conquered before you, then you are to give them the land of Gilead as theirs to possess. But if they do not cross with you armed, they are to possess land along with you in Canaan. The descendants of Gad and Reuben answered, we will do as Adonai has said to your servants. We will cross over into the land of Canaan, armed before Adonai, and then the land we will possess for inheritance will be on this side of the Jordan. So Moshe gave the descendants of Gad and of Reuben, and also the half-tribe of Manasseh, and the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorite, king of Og, king of Bashan, the country and its cities with its borders, along with their surrounding towns. The descendants of Gad built Divan, Atarot, Aroer, Atrot Shofan, Yazer, Yogbeah, Beit Nimrah, and Beit Haran, fortified cities, and also enclosures for sheep. The descendants of Reuben built Heshbon, Elela, Kiryati-Yaim, Nebo, Baal-Mon, these names have been changed, and Sivma, and they've renamed the cities they built. The descendants of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and conquered it, dispossessing the Amorite who were there. Moshe gave Gilead to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he lived in it. Yair, the son of Manasseh, went and captured its villages, and called them Havot Yair, villages of Yair. Novak went and captured Kanat and in its villages, and named it Novak after himself. These are the stages in the journey of the people of Israel as they left the land of Egypt, divided into the groups under the leadership of Moshe and Aharon. Moshe recorded each of the stages on their journey by order of Moshe. Here are the starting points of each stage. They began their journey from Ramesses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month, the morning after the Pesach. The people of Israel left, proudly in view of all the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were burying these among them whom Adonai had killed, all their firstborn. Adonai had also executed judgment on their gods. People of Israel moved on from Ramesses and camped at Sukkot. They moved on from Sukkot and camped at Etam, by the edge of the desert. They moved on from Etam and turned back to Pi Hakerot, in front of Baal Siphon, and camped before Migdol. They moved on from Panei Hakerot, passed through the sea to the desert, continued 3 days' journey into the Etam desert, and camped at Marah. They moved on from Marah and came to Elam. In Elam were 12 springs and 70 date palms, so that they camped there. They moved on from Elam and camped by the Sea of Suf. They moved on from the Sea of Suf and camped in the Sin desert. They moved on from the Sin desert and camped at Dofka. They moved on from Dofka and camped at Alush. They moved on from Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They moved on from Rephidim and camped in the Sinai desert. They moved on from the Sinai desert and camped at Kivrot ha-Tava'ah. And they moved on from Kivrot ha-Tava'ah and camped in Hatzerot. They moved on from Hatzerot and camped at Ritma. They moved on from Ritma and camped at Rimon Peretz. They moved on from Rimon Peretz and camped at Livna. They moved on from Livna and camped at Risa. They moved on from Risa and camped at Kehela, and they moved on from Kehela and camped at Mount Shafir. They moved on from Mount Shafir and camped at Haradah. They moved on from Haradah and camped at Machalot. They moved on from Machalot and camped at Techat. They moved on from Techat and camped at Tarach. They moved on from Tarach and camped at Mitka. They moved on from Mitka and camped at Hashmanoah. They moved on from Hashmanoah and camped at Moseret. They moved on from Moseret and camped at Bnei Yachan. They moved on from Bnei Yachan and camped at Hor HaGidgad. They moved on from Hor HaGidgad and camped at Yotvatah. They moved on from Yotvatah and camped at Avrona. And they moved on from Avrona and camped at Etzion Geber. They moved on from Etzion Geber and camped in the Zin desert, that is Kadesh. They moved on from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor at the border of the land of Edom. At Adonai's order, Aharon the Cohen went up on Mount Hor, and he died. And there, on the first day of the 5th month of the 14th year, after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt, Aharon was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. Kenani, king of Arad, who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, had heard that the people of Israel were coming. So they moved on from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah. They moved on from Zalmonah and camped at Punon. They moved on from Punon and camped at Ovot. They moved on from Ovot and camped at Iye Ha'avarim and at the border of Moab. They moved on from Iyim and camped at Divon Gad. They moved on from Divon Gad and camped at Almon Divlaitaim. They moved on from Almon Divlaitaim and camped in the Avarim range in the front of Nevo. They moved on from Avarim range and camped in the plains of Moab by the Yarden across from Jericho. Their camp by the Yarden extended from Beit Ha-Yeshimot all the way to Avel Ha-Shittim in the plains of Moab. Adonai spoke to Moshe in the plains of Moab by the Yarden across from Jericho. He said, to tell the people of Israel, when you cross the Yarden into the land of the Canaanite, you are to expel all the people living in the land from in front of you. Destroy all their metal statues, and demolish all their high places. Drive out the inhabitants of the land, and live in it, for I have given the land to you for you to possess. You will inherit the land by lot, according to your families. You are to give more land to the larger families and less to the smaller ones. Wherever the lot falls to any particular person, that will be his property. You will inherit according to the tribes of your ancestors. But if you don't drive out the inhabitants of the land from in front of you, then those you allow to remain will become like thorns in your eyes and stings in your sides. They will harass you in the land where you are living, and in this event I will do to you what I intended to do to them. Adonai told Moshe to give this order to the people of Israel. When you enter the land of the Canaan, it will become your land to pass on as inheritance. The land of Canaan is defined by these borders. Your southern portion will extend from the Zin desert close to the border of Edom. The eastern terminus on your southern border is at the end of the Dead Sea. From there your border goes from the south of Akrabim ascent and passes on to Zin. From there it goes south of Kadesh Barnea and on to Hatzar Adar and on to Atzmon. Then the border turns and goes from Atzmon to the Vadi of Egypt and along it to the sea. Your western border will be the Great Sea. Your northern border will be as follows: from the Great Sea, mark a line to Mount Hor, and from Mount Hor mark a line to the entrance of Hamat. The border goes out to Zadad. Then the border goes to Ziphron and finally to Hatzer Einan. This is your northern border. For the eastern border, mark your line from Hatzar Einan to Shepham. Then the border goes down from Shepham to Rivlah on the east side of Ayin. then down until it hits the slope east of Lake Kinneret. From there it goes down to the Yarden River till it flows into the Dead Sea. These will be the borders of your land. Moshe gave this order to the people of Israel. This is the land in which you will receive inheritance by lot, which Adonai has ordered to give to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. The tribe of the descendants of Reuben have already received their land for inheritance according to their clans, and so have the descendants of Gad and half-tribe of Manasseh. These 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance on this side of the Yarden, across from Jericho, and eastward towards the sunrise. Adonai said to Moshe, "These are the names of the men who will take possession of the land for you: Eleazar the Cohen and Yehoshua the son of Nun. Also appoint 1 leader from each tribe to take possession of the land." These names of these men are from the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb and the son of Yefuneh; from the tribe of the descendants of Shimon, Shmuel and the son of Ammihud; from the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad and the son of Kislon; from the tribe of the descendants of Dan, the leader of Buki the son of Yogli; from the descendants of Joseph, from the tribe of the descendants of Manasseh, a leader, Haniel the son of Ephod; from the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim, a leader, Kemuel the son of Shiftan; from the tribe of the descendants of Zebulun, a leader of Elzaphan the son of Parnak; from the tribe of the descendants of Issachar, a leader, Paltiel the son of Azan; from the tribe of the descendants of Asher, a leader, Achihud the son of Shlomi; from the tribe of the descendants of Naphtali, a leader, Padahel the son of Ammihud. These are the ones whom Adonai ordered to divide the inheritance among the people of Israel in the land of Canaan. In the plains of Moab, by the Yarden, across from Jericho, Adonai said to Moshe, "Order the people of Israel to give to the Leviim cities to live in from the heritage they will possess, and you are to also give to the Leviim some of the open land surrounding the cities. They are to have the cities to live in, while their open land will be for their livestock, for growing crops, and for all their animals. The open land around the cities you give to the Leviim is to commence at a line drawn around the city wall, 1,500 feet outside it, and to extend outward from there. Measure 3,000 feet outward from the city wall to the east, south, west, and north, with the city in the center. The space between the 1,500 foot line and the 3,000 foot line will be their open land around the cities. The cities you give to the Leviim are to be the 6 cities of refuge, to which you permit the person who kills someone to flee to, plus an additional 42 cities. Thus you will give the Leviim 48 cities with their surrounding open land as the cities you will give from those the people of Israel possess. From the many you will take many, and from a few you will take few. Each tribe will contribute from its cities to the Leviim in accordance with the size of its inheritance. Adonai said to Moshe, "Tell the people of Israel, when you cross the Yarden into the land of Canaan, you are to designate for yourselves cities that will be cities of refuge for you, to which anyone who kills someone by mistake can flee. These cities are to be a refuge for you when the dead person's next of kin, who might otherwise avenge his kinsman's death by slaying the killer prior to his standing trial before the community. In regard to the cities you are to give, they are to be 6 cities of refuge for you. You are to give 3 cities east of the Yarden and 3 cities in the land of Canaan, and they will be cities of refuge. These cities will serve as a refuge for the people of Israel, as well as the foreigner and resident alien with them, so that anyone who kills someone by mistake may flee there. However, if he hits him with an iron implement and thus causes his death, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. Or if he hits him with a stone in his hand big enough to kill someone, and if he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. Or if he hits him with a wood utensil in his hand capable of killing someone, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. The next of kin avenger is to put the murderer to death himself upon meeting him. He is to put him to death. Likewise, if he shoves him out of hatred, or intentionally throws something at him causing his death, or out of hostility strikes him with his hand so that he dies, then the one who struck him must be put to death. He is a murderer, and the next of kin avenger is to put the murderer to death upon meeting him. But suppose he shoves him suddenly, but without hostility, or he throws something at him unintentionally, or without seeing him, being his enemy, or seeking to harm him, he throws a big stone big enough to cause death, and the person dies, then the community is to judge between the one who struck him and the next of kin avenger, in accordance with these rules. And the community is to save the killer from the next of kin avenger. The community is to return him to the city of refuge to which he fled, and he is to live there until the Kohen Hagadol, who has anointed with the holy oil, dies. If the killer ever goes beyond the limits of the city of refuge he fled to, and the next of kin avenger finds him outside the city of his limits of refuge, and this avenger kills the killer, then he will not be guilty of the man's blood, because he must stay in his city of refuge until the day of the Kohen Hagadol, but after the death of the Kohen Hagadol, the killer may return to the land he owns. These things shall constitute your standard for judgment through all your generations, wherever you live. If anyone kills someone, the murderer is to be put to death upon the testimony of witnesses. But the testimony of only one witness will not suffice to cause a person to be put to death. Also, you are not to accept a ransom in lieu of a murderer condemned to death. Rather, he must be put to death. Likewise, you are not to accept for someone who has fled to his city of refuge a ransom that would allow him to return to his land before the death of the Kohen. In this way, you will not defile the land in which you are living, for blood defiles the land, and in this land no atonement can be made for the blood shed in its place, except the blood of him who shed it. No, you are not to defile the land in which you live, which I live, for I, Adonai, live among the people of Israel. The leaders of the clans of the families of the descendants of Gilead, the sons of Machir and the sons of Manasseh, of the families of the descendants of Joseph, approached and addressed Moshe and the leaders and the heads of the clans of the people of Israel. They said, Adonai ordered my Lord to give a lot to the land to be inherited by the people of Israel, and my Lord has ordered Adonai to give the inheritance of our kinsman of Zolophkhad to his daughters. But if they get married to anyone belonging to another of the tribes of the people of Israel, then their inheritance will be taken away from them, inheritance of our ancestors, and be added to the inheritance of the tribe they will then belong to. Thus it will be taken away from the sum total of our inheritance. And then when the Yovel of the people of Israel comes, their inheritance will be added to the land possessed by the tribe. They will then belong to and be subtracted from the inheritance belonging to the tribe of our ancestors. Moshe gave this order to the people of Israel in keeping the word of Adonai. The tribe of descendants of Joseph is right in what he says. Here is what Adonai had ordered concerning the descendants of Zolophkhad. Let them be married to whomever they think best, but they must marry only into a family from their father's tribe. In this way, no inheritance of the people of Israel will move from one tribe to another. from each of the people of Israel is to hold on to the land for inheritance belonging to his father's tribe. Every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the people of Israel is to become the wife of someone from the family of her father's tribe, so that every one of the people of Israel will stand in the possession of his ancestors' inheritance. Thus, no inheritance will move from the tribe to another. For each of the tribes of the people of Israel will hold on to its own inheritance. The descendants of Zelophehad did as Adonai had ordered Moshe. Machlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, Noah, and all got married to his two sons of their father's brother. They were married into the families of the descendants of Manasseh the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of father's family. These are the mitzvot and rulings according to which God gave through Moshe give to the people of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan, across from Jericho.